Alright, welcome. I'm going to try to fumble my way through this video real quick, where I explain my line work technique. Thanks to Matt B on YouTube for the suggestion. Got a little rough here of a goblin head. And if you have trouble getting to a stage like this, this video won't help you. Just keep practicing, you'll get there. All I want to do today is show you how I render the clean line layer, and try to explain how I apply the hatch marks, which I guess is kind of a trademark of my style right now. Not the only way to do it, just the way I like to do it. So I do everything, almost all painting and drawing with, if you look in the top left corner, with this main brush. This is basically a chalk brush that is pressure sensitive, goes from thin to thick a little bit, not crazy, and it also goes from light to dark depending on how I press. So it's doing those two things at once. Incidentally, if you want my tool set, it's available on Patreon at the tier 4 level. But honestly, it's not a hard brush to make, and there you go. Alright, I haven't really consciously thought about this stuff in a long time, but so you got your thick, your thin, your light, your heavy, like, and where do you put those? Where do you make it the line thick, and where do you make it thin? Basically, the way I do it, and this is not the only way, all outer lines get the thick treatment, and all inner lines are thin. And that I usually keep that in mind, like 100% of the time. I usually don't even make the lines thicker as the objects get closer to the camera, and I don't make them thinner as they get further away. Maybe a little bit, but so for me it has little to do with distance, little to do with shading. I won't put if this side was dark, I'm not going to darken lines on the shady areas. As far as line is concerned, I'm only concerned about whether or not it's an outer edge or an inner edge. And let's try, let me just do a little hatching to see if I can think about how I do it. Keep my brush a little smaller. That's kind of a complex shape I just made with some quick hatches. Kind of, just from what I did there, it implies that if I draw some like contour lines or the shape, it goes like this, and fades off, and it gets sharper in certain areas. And how I decide what direction for those hatch marks is it, I don't know, it's parallel to the direction of the shape. It's hard to explain. If I was to do it more simply, I might just draw a line like this to indicate his, whatever bone that is around your temple. But I don't want a hard line there, because it's not a, you don't want to show that the contour lines. You don't want to show, it's not an outer edge, right? just trying to indicate that the shape goes in a little bit and then comes out. Goes in a little bit, then comes out. So by keeping the line parallel to this direction, all my hatch marks rather, keeping all my hatch marks relatively parallel, I can quickly go from a real soft shape and then go, when they start going down, they all sort of collect right here, the end points of each line, and that changes the way the shape looks, right? And then you can fade it off depending on how you want it. It doesn't look quite right. Just go soft and then come in a little bit and go soft, try like that. And then I can sometimes reinforce. Just zooming in my other image there. I've always got the same Photoshop image on 2 monitors so I can like compare at different sizes. But that's not important right now. So I can generally go thick with the outer edges. And, okay, maybe I lied a little bit. I can make this go a little bit lighter as it tucks behind the ear, and then this line goes darker. You can do that a little bit. So this edge of the nose, so this is an outer edge right here. So I generally go pretty dark with it, but it's gonna blend into up here. It's no longer an outer edge, it's more up here. The line just indicates that if I draw another contour line, it kind of goes like this a little bit, right? Whereas on the nose, it's more like this. That's why this line is dark, and I gotta fade it up over here. I usually start from top down just because it's easier. No rhyme or reason to it, but I might go like that. Almost, well, let me see if this is true, but most lines I like to soften by doing a little hatching at the end. So like this line, for example, isn't indicating an outer or an inner edge. It's really just a little crease in his skin, but if I don't like the way it just stops abruptly, I can kind of fade it out with some hatches that are parallel at the edges. As I draw it, I can kind of imagine. I push a little harder for like the areas that might be indented. It's not the best drawing so far, but hopefully it makes a little sense. So let's work on this nostril area. So maybe down here it's an outer edge, because if the contours go like this, so we can keep that part a little thicker. But up here, it's more just like this. So keeping that in mind, draw lighter and can fade it off. Try that again, just like the shape exactly. And maybe you're thinking, why did I do the lines this way instead of, I could have shaded it this way? That works just as fine. It kind of follows the direction of the nostril. I guess the reason I don't like it is because your line goes like this and then takes a 90-degree turn. I usually just do the hatching in the direction that the line tapers off into, so my hard line kind of stops in this direction. So that kind of sets my initial hatch direction. I just think it looks a little cleaner. And I can do some hatches that follow that direction a little bit. Try to indicate some crinkly folds in his nose. Maybe I'll go this way. It's not the best. It's unlucky, right? So I don't know. I try to make all the lines kind of follow the contour, but the direction of the hatches, from in my drawing, just they follow the direction of the line as well as the contour. And I don't know, like, you could decide this is not how I do it, but if you imagine the contour shape of the whole, I don't know, if you're projecting lines over this guy, it might look like this, and you could keep all your hatches, you know, in one side-to-side direction. But for me, I don't like the way that looks as much. I'm not gonna do all this. This is really hard to explain. I never really thought about it before. This cheekbone. Over here, it's not a hard edge. It's just want to indicate the line that the shape goes in and out a little bit like that. Maybe it is a outer edge right there. Exaggerate that cheekbone a little. And as I was hatching, I kind of made this irregular line, which you don't have to do, but I don't know, it kind of further hints at some bumps in his face. Okay, could have done those in the other direction. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Let's go back and pick out little areas, like little weird folds. Much easier to do on a monstrous face. I purposely drew a little orc, goblin, troll type dude because it's easier than explaining all this while trying to draw a pretty human face. So keep my line thick with the outer edge of that tooth. And I usually, I don't know, unrounded, I don't even have an idea of my light source. I usually just default to like top down. But on a rounded surface, I often just throw a little like core shadow somewhere. Don't even know where the light's coming from yet, but that tends to help the illusion that something is rounded. And then he's got this bumpy lip. I want it to, if we drew a line following the contour, I want it to go like this, you know. So rather than just draw that, I will do some hatches like that, following this line. That's the parallel direction I'm sticking to. Oh, I can't actually hatch in that direction. Gotta rotate. His nose is really rounded, so it could do like a coarse shadow. Maybe like that. See, it actually, that bugs my eye a little bit because the hatches like come out of the line. They're not parallel to anything. Try this. No, doesn't look right either. Yeah, and in complicated areas like around these eye folds, kind of all bets are off. All rules are thrown out the window. Kind of just go for it, and you deepen up areas that are in shadow, and you want like a fold here. So rather than draw that line, which would be a little too harsh, I'll try starting the hatch over here and go all the way up. I did this hatch in this direction just to connect it to this line here. A fake core shadow on the tooth. Don't want to go too crazy with that because I don't know. You just don't want to. just set my brush to 50% opacity just to throw in a little cast shadow here. Maybe one. Let's put that far cheekbone in. Oops, I made my brush too big. That doesn't look great. It kind of looks like Hoggle from Labyrinth. Notice with the brush I like to use, drawing a line once, even at like max pressure, it doesn't give me a fully blackened line. I have to like reinforce it with a couple more strokes. Maybe that makes it take a little bit longer, but I like having that level of control over the line weight. Go to 50%, brush size up, throw a little cast shadow from that lip. Set this layer to multiply so that drawing with white just erases. Draw this very good. I think we probably see some of that far nostril. What else? Got this big area here. It's a big focal point. a trick I usually like to do, especially on the monsters. Don't do this on all your humans, but throw some big pores. Brushing through this part here. I think I've explained everything I can. Just trying to finish this guy up for you. Okay, not the best looking drawing of mine, but actually looking at it now, don't you think this line here, the one I started with, a little dark? Alright. Please let me know if this helped and if there's something that I failed to explain. I'll try to address that in another video if there's anything. I do so much of what I do, I've just drawn this way for so long, and I never really, I'm not the best critical thinker like that. I don't know if that's the right term, but I don't self-analyze the way I do things. I just kind of go by instinct. Okay, thanks again.